Pokémon Sun and Moon is getting ever closer to release, yet there's still a lot we don't know. But each new trailer gives us a better idea of the complete picture of what the 7th generation will be like. And this latest trailer finally showed off the first stage of the starter's evolutions, as well as 2 new modes and a special demo. There's a lot to see, but thankfully the old analysis machine is there to help uncover every secret and hidden detail. So let's see what it can find. As always, we'll begin with the new Pokemon, and first up is Rowlet's evolution, Dartrix. Known as the Blade Quill Pokemon, it is extremely sensitive to other presences to the point that it can even detect opponents behind it and throw feathers to strike them without even looking. These thrown feathers are a special bladed type that are kept inside its wings. They're malleable as well, allowing Dartrix to bend them in order to change their trajectory. However, Dartrix is also considered to be a little snobby. It cares a lot about its appearance, making sure to groom its feathers every chance it gets. But this trait hides the fact that Dartrix is also scatterbrained and will often mess things up. In its attempt to gloss over the mistake, it often ends up making it worse. This lack of focus also applies to its snobby nature. Dartrix becomes so bothered by dirty or ruffled feathers that it often can't focus on battle. And once it loses that focus, it'll often retire from battle immediately. But if trainers can help Dartrix overcome this awkward stage of its life, they'll find that its strength will grow tremendously. Next up is Lintons Evolution, Torracat, which has a bell-like object attached to the base of its neck. This is actually its flame sac, the organ that allows it to produce fire. This sac is affected by Torracat's emotions and will grow hotter when its emotions run high. This sac can even spit flames which somehow ring like a bell. In addition, Torracat's mane serves as a sensory organ, allowing it to sense what's going on around it, even in total darkness. More importantly, it also detects the presence of hidden enemies. Torracat loves to battle and will attack so relentlessly that its opponents often lose the will to fight. Its foreleg punches are so powerful that they can bend iron bars and knock out large men with a single strike. Yet despite this power, it will still sometimes behave like, well, a cat, when it's with trainers that it trusts. Finally, there's Poplio's evolution, Breann, the pop star Pokemon. It even looks the part with its frills and pigtail-like ears, both of which are styled after young Japanese pop idols. It learns to dance by imitating the other members of its colony or even by learning from humans. Breann is an incredibly hard worker, pouring itself into memorizing each dance, and as it dances, Breann will continuously create balloons. This dancing helps it in battle, where it can send its opponent into disarray thanks to its movements before slapping the balloons against them to deal explosive damage. Breann's sense of rhythm is uncanny and is able to dance in perfect time with others, even if they only just met. People enjoy watching groups of Breann on moonlit nights where they dance in perfect harmony with one another. Breann will always act cheery and positive even if they're feeling sad. They refuse to show a sad expression unless it's to a trainer or Pokemon that it trusts completely. But in addition to the starter's evolutions, there was one more new Pokemon introduced. Well, kind of. On October 18th, a demo for Sun and Moon will be released, and through that demo, players will receive a special Greninja that has the new ability Battle Bond. This allows it to change into Ash-Greninja from the current Pokémon XY&Z anime. As the anime explains, this is known as the Bond phenomenon, an occurrence so rare that it only happened once, and that was several hundred years ago. The transformation increases Greninja's leg strength, making it so fast that it's difficult to see. But Ash-Greninja's most notable feature is the large water shuriken on its back that it can throw in rapid succession. But in order to trigger this transformation in the game, the player must first have Greninja knock out an opponent's Pokemon in battle. And as soon as a battle ends, it reverts back to a normal Greninja. In the trailer, we can see the trainer pull out a Pokeball and look at it, indicating that this is Greninja's ball. But how will he obtain it in the demo? Or is it something he just has? Speaking of the demo, we believe that Greninja may be the only Pokemon you can use in it. While the Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire demo allowed players to catch Pokemon, there weren't any new ones. A lot can be determined from actually using the new Pokemon, so we'd presume that they'll limit players to the familiar. This is supported by a press release by the Pokemon Company, which specifically says you'll only meet new Pokemon. Finally, we see Ash-Greninja's Water Shuriken in action, which still hits multiple times, but the power seems to have significantly increased, taking down the Rockruff in 2 hits. Granted, it was weak to water, yet it still seems stronger than the original attack. But the trailer also showed that Greninja wouldn't be the only transformation in the game. Mega Evolution is indeed returning, as explained by Dexio and Cinna. Like we thought, the Z-Ring will also tie into how Mega Evolution is achieved, and based on the ruins around them, it looks like this conversation takes place on the southwestern island of Pony. However, we do wonder if Mega Evolution will be available during the main quest. There's been no sign of it up until this point, and no new evolutions were shown, which could point to this as being a post-game extra. Interestingly, the Pokemon website states that Megastones can be received from people in the game or bought in special shops. They won't be laying on the ground like before. In fact, a screenshot shows that Dexio hands over Alakazam's Megastone, while another reveals a special Megastone shop where they're redeemed for battle points. This reinforces the idea that Megastones won't be available until after the main game is beaten. Interestingly, this is completely separate from the shops that can be found in the Festival Plaza. The plaza serves as a hub of the communication features in Sun and Moon. Here, players from all over the world can meet, battle, trade, and more. It even appears like the plaza is populated in real time. Here we see a girl with straight hair that goes down to her mid-back, as well as a male trainer with a dreadlock-like hairstyle. Both the English and Japanese trailers prominently show Sophocles, and this is because he is the Festival Plaza owner. He explains in the Japanese trailer how both local and internet communications are done thanks to the plaza. This role likely means that the plaza cannot be accessed until players meet Sophocles, which may not be until they reach the northeastern island of Akala. Along with standard trading, the plaza handles the global trade station as well, which we see in action thanks to a trade with Celine from New York. Wonder Trading returns as well, but it seems to have been expanded. Now it shows the trainer you're trading with, in this case Yang from Taipei, Taiwan, and how frequently they wonder trade. But let's break down the Festival Plaza itself, starting with the English trailer. As the trainer runs around, we see a Drifloon stall in the background and a fortune teller's tent that he runs past, along with a building shaped like a present. We can even see a giant Pikachu tail sticking out of the box building. Finally, next to that is what appears to be a kind of archery game. But it's thanks to the player character named Jefferson that we learn the names of some of these places. There's the Pokemon House, the Battle Store, Big Dreams, the Johto Tent, Team Green, the Rare Kitchen, and the Stomp House. And the Pokemon website actually shows a few more. There's Team Yellow, the General Store, the Kanto Tent, and a ball shop. Interestingly, these screenshots show characters named Festival Fans, which means these requests can come from NPCs as well, or so it seems. In terms of the trailer, the player selects the Rare Kitchen, which shows it in the plaza, placing it next to the Drifloon stall. Completing this simple request, which we'll go into more later, nets the trainer 5 festival coins, the currency of the plaza, and these can be spent at the stalls. In fact, we learned that the Drifloon stall is the Stomp House. It's a bouncy house that allows players to spend coins in order to raise their Pokemon stats. But here's where it gets interesting. It appears that the stalls can be improved as the Stomp House now has 5 stars rather than just 1. It seems there is a different course for each stat, ranging from A to F, but we're not sure why the list goes A, then F, skipping B through E. But we do know that the more coins spent, the higher the stat increase will be. 5 for 1 star, 10 for 2, 15 for 3, 30 for 4, and 50 for 5. And we see that Pikachu's HP went up by a lot, but we still wonder if this all happens automatically or if a minigame is played. After all, it is a bounce house and there's no sign of the Pikachu or the trainer during this message, which likely means they're still inside. Next we see that the present-shaped stall is the general store and is pretty much a goodie shop. The English trailer only shows the description for one item though, the PP Up, though it's called the unusual product in the store and costs 200 coins. The other items include sets based on each region except for Alola and Kanto and a honey set. Could these be random items that originated in the various regions and different kinds of honey in that particular set? But the Japanese trailer reveals much more about this mode and even the general store's options. In this trailer, the list of items includes the Johto and Honey sets, along with the new Water set and Balls A set. More importantly, we get a description of the Johto set, which does say that it contains 4 Johto local specialties, so it seems each set will contain 4 likely random items fitting a theme. And like the Stomp house, the selection of items available will expand as it gains more stars. Before we move on from the general store, we wanted to mention how the girl standing in front of it in the Japanese trailer is different from the English one, but more importantly is how she's dressed. While it's not exact, it is remarkably close to the Team Skull outfit, which could mean that players could dress up as them at some point. We then see a few more of the stalls and a brief idea of what they may do. First up is the Rare Kitchen, which is currently only at 1 star. But this kitchen seems to be for Pokemon only, as a later scene has text that states that Linton is satisfied with the taste. So this is a restaurant for Pokemon. The question is, what does it do for them? Is it another way to boost stats, or maybe a way to grant your Pokemon temporary bonus effects? We really can't tell. Next is a girl welcoming you to a fortune teller shop called the Pokemon Mansion. But what would fortune telling do for your Pokemon? Could it be a way to see its full potential? The final stall we see is the dye shop, which allows you to dye your clothes. Thanks to an English screenshot of this stall, we see that players can dye their clothes with whatever the shop has, or use different colors based on berries. Considering the variety of berries out there, there are a lot of colors to choose from. We get to see a few examples, but this also shows that everything can be dyed. Hats, shirts, pants, and even shoes, which affects the color of your socks as well. By the way, did you notice the name of the shop? It's called Team Navy Blue, which means the Team Green and Team Yellow shops listed in previous screenshots were also dye stalls. The question is, why are they split up like this? Is this just the standard color that clothes are dyed to? Would using a different kind of berry to dye something change it to another kind of shop, like Team Yellow? After all, we never see the other dye shops on the same list. But here's the strange thing. The Japanese trailer shows no sign of the Stomp house. The signature Drifloon stall simply isn't there, which makes us wonder, could players customize which shops appear in their Festival Plaza? Even Sophocles talks about an attraction that will liven up the plaza. We can't be sure if that's the case or not, but there is one more possibility. The Pokemon website talks about how your Festival Plaza's rank can go up based on the amount of coins you've collected. It then talks about missions, but what if this also allows players to determine which stores are added in, and maybe even which ones will gain another star, expanding the possibilities. In fact, the English trailer has a single frame where we can clearly see empty lots, showing that it has room to grow. Still, it's impossible to say conclusively, but it would be a way for players to focus on what benefits they want for their Pokemon. Speaking of the festival coins, they can be earned either through the simple answers to other trainers in the plaza or through specific missions. The Pokemon website explains that missions can eventually be hosted so that multiple players can attempt them together either locally or through the internet. In addition, there will be occasional global missions that everyone can join in, but it's the screenshots that give us our best idea of how missions work. First is the type matchup test, where you select the type that's super effective against a Pokemon that's mentioned. Players have 3 minutes to get at least 5 correct answers so they can earn at least 5 coins, but up to 50. It seems like it can be challenged multiple times too, since there are star rankings for it, indicating how well you did alone and together. So answering the questions of those trainers in terms of where to find what services is likely part of one of these missions as well. One other mission is shown though. The player is dashing through rocks with Tauros. We'd presume that the goal is to smash as many rocks as possible within a certain time limit. The more you can do, the more coins you will earn. And this mission clears out most of the plaza, limiting it to NPCs. Finally, another screenshot also shows what one of the global missions would be like. In this case, the world's players have 10 days to catch 900 million wild Pokemon. That's a lot of Pokemon, but something we think the world can pull off. The bigger question is, what's the reward? How many coins will we earn? That may be it for the Festival Plaza, but there's still the new Poké Pelago, a series of 5 small islands that your boxed Pokémon can visit. According to the Pokémon website, only a few are available in the beginning, but this expands as you send more Pokémon to the Pelago. The entire service is run by the caretaker, Moon, who explains that the boxed Pokémon can freely come there. This seems to contradict the website, but we think that it means that any Pokémon in your box can go to the islands. The Japanese trailer shows that the trainer uses Charizard as part of the Poké Ride to get to the Isles, and the first place you can go is Isle of Beans, which seems to be the place where you gather beans for Pokémon Refresh. I mean, the isle is shaped like a bean, has a bean stalk, and we can gather the beans by tapping them with the stylus. We even see that they come in 3 varieties: left for common, middle for uncommon, and right for rare. The only options shown include going back or sailing to a different isle. Interestingly, this can also attract wild Pokémon that may join your party, as evidenced by Pincer in the Japanese trailer. In addition, a screenshot shows that players can learn about the Pokémon currently visiting, including their gender and nature. Once they have a heart above their heads, they will join your team. And it seems like the beans can help this process, as each one has a different effect, though we don't know yet what those effects are. Next up is Isle of Fun, which allows your Pokémon to search for valuable items. The Japanese trailer also shows that you can choose what tools the Pokémon will use and what kind of items they'll try to find using those tools. Once they do, they'll place their discoveries in the nearby box. So far, we've mainly seen various stones, which include the Leaf, Dusk, Float, and Shiny stones, while another screenshot shows that Moon, Thunder, and Hard stones can be found as well. And as we reported before, the Spanish website revealed that a new Ice stone exists, which likely ties into Vulpix's Alolan form, and perhaps a new way to evolve Eevee into Glaceon. With this isle, it won't be difficult to evolve your Pokémon that requires stones. The next island shown in the English trailer is Isle Level Up, but this is the bottom left island on the artwork for Poké Pelago. Level Up may be a replacement for the daycare and allow players to train their boxed Pokémon. However, we don't think daycare is completely gone. After all, there still needs to be a way to breed, and there doesn't seem to be a way to do that with so many Pokémon in one place. But here's the really interesting thing. Players can also make drinks for their Pokémon, and each one will put focus on a different stat, or even increase the amount of experience they earn from the workout. Essentially, the drinks act as a way to give your Pokémon effort values despite not battling other Pokémon. The final island shown was not named in the trailer, but its focus is on berries and is the middle right island on the official artwork. This berry isle seems to be a berry farm that players can access at any time. We see in the Japanese trailer how we can decide which berries to plant in the 6 available slots of this farm. However, the shape of the island makes it seem that more plots of land will become available, which will be needed considering how many berry options there will be based simply on the slider on the right. Once the tree has fully grown, simply tap on it to uproot the tree and collect the berries. But what about the final island on the bottom right? Well, it looks as if its focus is a hot spring. While we can't be sure what exactly it may be used for, we think it may increase the happiness of Pokémon, allowing players to bond with those that aren't even on their team. It would certainly match the utility of the other islands, and that's the interesting thing about Poké Pelago. Every single island will help streamline training the Pokémon that are usually relegated to sitting in the box the entire game. Okay, we're almost done here, but there are a few other things that we'd like to point out. For one, we see the Tyranitar comb in action for the first time where, like we predicted, it seems to be used to get rid of sticky objects like this cotton spore. And finally, we get a look at all of the options on the bottom menu. They include Pokemon, Pokédex, Bag, Save, Quick Communication, and Festival Plaza on the first page. It looks like the plaza was just added as well, and by looking at the top, a new option is available on the second page too. That second page consists of the Trainer ID, Poké Pelago, Pokémon Refresh, the QR scanner, battle videos, and options. At the top there's an exclamation for the first page. While we don't know what could be trying to alert the player, it could be something related to the Rotom Dex, though we can't be sure. Pokémon Sun and Moon continues to look promising as each new mode adds a functionality that could be extremely useful to trainers. It's a level of detail that we've come to expect from the 7th gen, and we can't wait to see everything it has to offer. More information is coming soon on the 14th, while the demo arrives on the 18th, and we'll be there to cover it all. Until then, let us know if we missed anything in the comments. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to Game Explained for more on Pokemon and other things gaming.